Hey buddy, Jim's Holy is okay. We're slowly getting back to health. Oh my God, what a terrible month it's been, but slowly getting back. My back's feeling better. The flu is pretty much out of the house, but it takes its toll. And as you get older, it's harder. I'm 60 now. I hate that number. You hit that number, and it does. You try to keep a positive view, and you know what I mean. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there older than me who's like 60 or youngest, or and so forth. But anyway, today I'm gonna plant some annuals. And every year I'm getting more and more excited. Now that I'm retiring in May, I'm going to maybe expand a little bit. I'm not going to get off the beaten track of coleus, but I'm going to start to maybe expand a little bit, and have some fun. So today I'm actually going to grow some gazania. These are annuals, and they look pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen one up close personal. And normally I would start it maybe in my aero garden, but as you can see, we got some lettuce growing. One or two of them didn't do too well. They were where the seeds didn't fall really down well enough. But these are growing pretty well, and that's fine for me. But the lettuce is growing real well. But we're not going to start these in the aero garden. But instead, I had some leftover Jiffy pods. So we're gonna grow them in this tray. So we just filled these. We're gonna tear these away and plant some of these gazanias. Okay, so they're all prepped. You just tear the netting and you spread it out, and then you can fluff. You can fluff the pods. I like to fluff the pods because after I sow the seeds, especially if I'm doing a tray of 72 or 50. I like to fluff it so I can keep sort of visual track of which one I just sowed, which kind of sounds, in a way, maybe it sounds ridiculous, but when you're doing a lot of them and you're taking breaks, you're like, did I plant them here? I mean, yeah, I could put a little stick there, or whatever, but it's just my system. So I kind of fluff them, and gazania seeds are not like coleus seeds. Now remember, coleus seeds need light to germinate. There's certain plants, certain seeds that require light to germinate. So always read your seed package. Don't just take it for granted that every seed gets buried. I mean, everyone thinks of seeds, they got to be buried, but just be careful. Read. Most of the burpees are really good. There's there's Swallowtail Garden Seed. There's so many different brands, but I like burpees pretty good. I was at Home Depot and I was picking up some stuff and I saw these. I kind of wanted to start a few. I just to do a handful of annuals, and I kind of went through everything they had, and these kind of caught my eye, and I'm like, let me give it a shot. So it's fun, Every year I do a little something different. Over the years I did bluebell terranias, which I liked, but they were kind of they were tough to grow. But I found out that they really need a lot of sun, and it was just a little difficult. But I did them for a few years, and they were beautiful plants. Last year, I got some calibrachoas from a nursery, and those were really beautiful. And I planted zinnias in my aero garden last year also, and that did really well. But I never did that, and they were huge. So anyway, we're going to give these a try. But these, you have to bury about 1/4 of an inch under the soil. Again, this Jiffy Pod system is really, really neat. You can grow anything. And they do come in different diameters and heights, depending on what you want. They actually have one just for tomatoes. So if you're a tomato person and you want to start your tomatoes indoors, you can use this, absolutely. But if you search, and I'll put the link in this video, you can actually get ones specifically for tomatoes, which I think they're a little deeper because every plant's a little different, and tomatoes grow deeper. And I could have used them for my jalapenos, which they're doing great. I'm gonna show you them. But anyway, we're gonna prep these, tear these open, fluff them up a little bit. We're gonna sow some gazania seeds. Okay, so again, I love these paper plates. Whenever I'm sowing plants, I always use the paper plates so I can kind of look at the seeds, and most of them are, these are burpee, these are pretty good seeds. My seeds also, and again, head over to Jim's Coleus on eBay. I still have seeds. It's still early. You have plenty of time to sow your coleus seeds. If you start them a little late, February this year, I started my coleus late. I just did one tray a couple of days ago. Normally, I would have both of them done already, but because we've been so sick here, just for a number of things, I'm late. But I'm not concerned because specifically with me, because my farmers market I do isn't until June, so I got plenty of time. And also, I had mentioned to a couple of followers that were asking about, you know, how late and so forth you can sow them. Coleus will start off slow, but once the weather kicks in, the bright sun, daylight savings times in 2 weeks. Now these, again, you got to bury these gazanias about a 1/4 inch below the soil. I'm not going to get out a ruler. As long as they're buried down, you just don't want to bury them at the very bottom. You don't have to like put them as deep. I have 14 pods, so I'm gonna do about three seeds per pod, and then, you know, plant them. And I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I use one of these little shrimp forks or whatever and fluff them up. They're all pretty well fluffed. Okay, and the best way to really sow these, for me, what I'm going to do is, because I want to put 3 per pod, is I have my trusty plastic chopstick, and I just poked 3 holes in each of the pods. I already did those. And you can see I just dropped the seed in each pod. Well, I didn't do these yet, but just, again, this is just something I do. You can just do it your own way. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. If you're just planting 1 seed per pod, doesn't really matter. But, you know, I make sure that they're down at least a 1/4 inch. And we'll drop 1 seed per, so I'm putting 3 seeds per pod on these. And just, that's how I keep track of planting my gazanias. I love these Jiffy pods. You can, like I said, you can grow anything. Anything from seed, you could start with these indoors. You got a windowsill. They have the windowsill sized Jiffy trays. Again, I'll have them in the shopping link in the beginning of the video. But any size, these are just perfect. These Jiffy pods, love them. Okay, so it's been about, you know what, I think it's 3 days, 2 days. And look, here are the gazanias. You can see most of them are up. Here's one in the corner there. Most of them are up. Again, once your germinations appear, I'm going to give it another day or 2 tops. And then I'm going to disconnect the heat mat. Here are my basil. I had a few basil didn't come up, and I replanted, and I got some basil coming in. So I'm going to give this another 2 days. Then I'm shutting the heat mats off, because they germinated. The heat mats did its job. You don't need to leave the heat mats on. If you leave your heat mats on, it'll cook the young germinations. Here is the tray of coleus that I did last week, and they're all pretty much, let's move this away, pretty much all of them are just starting to germinate. And again, same thing, I'm going to leave the heat mat on for another couple of days. There's still a few that haven't. They look dry, but they aren't. Some of them appear dry on the video, but they are well moist. But same thing, you want to keep, once your germination show, you want to pop the lid to get that air circulating. Very important, very, very important. And eventually, I'm going to get the fan going. One of my followers, another fellow YouTuber, Garden Mouse, thank you very much for purchasing my seeds and mentioning my channel on your YouTube channel. Garden Mouse, good point with the ventilation. It's really good to use a fan. I do have a fan, and once I get everything going here, I'm gonna put the fan on very lightly, and it's good. It gets that air circulating, and then later on, it gets the plants used to wind. sort of mimics the wind. Now here's those early coleus that I grew, that I started in late December. It wasn't that early. I forget, honestly, because I was been sick. And yeah, I started these 25 and the jalapeno peppers for an Earth Day. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to cancel the Earth Day. So I'm just going to sell these. I gave away about 5 or 6 of them yesterday to friends. But it's not a big deal. But the jalapenos are well on their way. Our first tray of coleus are on the way. I have a second tray. And this second tray I'm going to do probably tomorrow or Tuesday. And that'll be my second tray, so I don't have everything coming in at the same time. And that's sort of the system I do. So we're getting busy here. We're getting a lot of growth. Got some overwintered coleus. I have some overwintered coleus at my front door, and also one of the the first jalapeno pepper plants that actually have fruit, getting lots of sun. So I want to flood them with sun. Okay, so just summarizing again, if you're using the Jiffy trays, you're using heat mats. Once your germinations show, make sure they all come in. Keep your heat mats on for another couple of days. Pop the lid and then shut your heat mats off, because you don't want the heat mats to cook your germinations. Now these basil plants, they already well germinated. So again, I have a few of them that are. I'm going to shut this heat mat off tomorrow. All right, everybody, so stay tuned. We'll see how these, I'm really looking forward to seeing these grow. And again, I like to try different things. There's so many plants out there. There's so many perennials, annuals, like annuals. There's so many out there. So again, I'm really looking forward to seeing how these grow and what they look like in real life. Looking forward to that. So all right, so stay tuned here. Head over to Jim's Coleus. Head over to Jim's Coleus on eBay. Jim's Coleus Seeds on eBay. Get your Coleus seeds. There's still plenty of time. And stay tuned. We'll be shooting regular videos on my tray of 72. I haven't really checked it. I haven't messed with it. I imagine by now I have some germinations going on there with my Coleus, but I haven't really messed with it. And a few of my basil seeds didn't germinate. So I replanted them. So I do have some. I still have some on the heat mat. It's okay for a few days, but I'm not going to leave them on heat mats because I have about a quarter of the tray already germinated. So I don't really want to damage those. But I learned that years ago when I left my heat mat on for like a month after they germinated, and then I'm like, wow, these things look horrible. They stopped growing. They got very thin, extra leggy, and they just stopped. It's like they got to a point and they stopped growing. And then I researched it a little more, and it's like, because I left the heat mat on, I thought I was doing them a favor by keeping them warmer, but the direct heat of the heat mat, what it was doing to the roots of the germinations was cooking the roots. So don't leave your heat mats on. Head over to Jim's Coleus on eBay. Get your Coleus seeds. Plenty more to come here. Jim's Coleus. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned. Lots more to come.